Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy!
Hey, it's Bill Algie from Ages of Rock podcast. I am with Kent Hilli from Perfect Plan. How are you doing, man?
Hi, man. Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I ran home at lunch today to do this podcast, but I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I was listening to some random music a couple of weeks ago, probably about a month ago, and a couple of the singles from the new record, Brace for Impact, popped on my playlist.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is some really good stuff, man. I really enjoyed it. So I started digging around, and then I'm like, okay, record's not out yet. I got a hold of some folks, and they connected us, which is great, man. I'm telling you, I love this record.
Thank you, man.
It is great.
Yeah. I mean, it's our third album. So is it the first time you've heard us?
It was the first time it was the first time I heard
yeah.
you, but I've downloaded the other two.
Yeah.
And
that's great. Now it's great to get some new fans and new listeners. I think that, with this third album, it's I think it's a bit different from the others in terms of the sound, because the sound is a bit heavier and a bit harder. And I've seen that we've received some new fans as well because of that. I think it still has, the Perfect Plan sound in terms of melodies and hooks and the guitar riffs, and it's still, melodic, but a bit harder and heavier than before. Yeah,
I would agree. I downloaded the other two as well, and so I could listen to those two. And it is a little bit different, but I think the thing that's really great about the band is they do have that melodic hook that goes through, even the other two albums as well. But your voice, dude, is killer. I mean, it is.
Thanks, man.
It's really amazing.
Thank you.
We interview a lot of people, and to be honest with you, I don't say that a lot. It's because I'm sure people hear that all the time, and it's kind of like yeah. But there are some people I'm like, it's really kind of grabs you. And I'm one of those kind of people that when you hear that first song on a record, if the first song doesn't grab me, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing with me when I listen to something nowadays. The first 20-30 seconds, if it don't grab me, I just switch to another song, or it's a bit different how people listen to music nowadays. You got Spotify and YouTube, and you can switch between bands and artists and songs within a second. So when I grew up in the 80s, you bought the vinyls and CDs, and you listen to the whole album, when you bought the record, you just had 30-40 seconds of listening before you bought the record. But when you came home, you listened to the whole album, and obviously you got disappointed sometimes. But nowadays it's it's the buyer's market when it comes to music, and it's a tough business to stand out, with all the releases that are coming out every week. I mean, we're just grateful to be able to do what we do, and to have a label that believes in us, and fans and listeners that still wants and demands more music from us. And so we're just grateful to be able to do this, at our age, because we're 50 plus in the band, and I live on music nowadays, and I'm very grateful for that. I never thought that 5-6 years ago, when we got the record deal with Frontiers, that I that I'd be able to live on music. But it's not, you can't take that for granted. It's basically I just look ahead 6 months and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it is interesting. So
yeah,
because the first record came out in 2018, right? So but you were doing music before that, obviously, right? You didn't just wake up one morning in your 40s and go, or late 30s and go, hey, I'm going to start doing music today. So
yeah, but basically my story is that when I started very late with singing. I was 33 years of age when I started singing. So obviously I've been singing in the shower like everyone else, but it was all about sports for me the first 30 years of my life, and I played in your terms soccer in Sweden, and I was a semi-professional for some years, and I wanted to do something, after my football or soccer career, and I started learning the acoustic guitar and started to play around. I was at this party with a friend of mine who's a musician, and we started jamming around with some Europe songs, and he just said to me that you got a great voice, you need to do something with that. And so I started up a cover band and a tribute band, and played around with those bands for 13, 14 years before I started writing my own songs. And so I started writing songs in 2013 maybe, and on the first attempt with the cover band that we had at that point, which is basically today's Perfect Plan. So all the members from that, except for the bass player, is still in the band. And on our first attempt with writing our own songs, we got a record deal. So yeah, but I'm a late bloomer. But the others in the band have played since they were 5-6 years of age, but I started out very late. So yeah.
Wow. Who are some of your influences then?
Yeah, when it comes to this music, the influences are quite obvious. Basically, to me, it was Giant, Europe, Whitesnake, Joe Lynn Turner, Rainbow, Foreigner, Survivor, Jimmy James and Lou Gramm. All those greats has been a huge influence on me. So in terms of my vocal techniques and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you say Jim Jamison, because that's somebody you don't hear much. You don't hear people mention very much from Survivor, and he had such a great voice.
Yeah. I think he's, it's a tie between him, Lou Gramm, Joe Lynn Turner, Dan Huff, for me. But they got, they got some different styles and different techniques, but and their vocal language, so to speak, and how they attack a song, and the feel and the soul of the song. I like very soulful singers, and when I do a song, I just want to give it 100% soul. It needs to be soulful for me. So I get all into the soul of the song. So yeah.
Do you like soul music too? I mean, is that part of your listening genre? Yeah. So that's kind of that drive.
I've listened a lot to soul music and R&B, and Michael McDonald, for instance. Yeah. I really like the way he sings and the way he attacks a song. And the first time I heard him, I thought he was black, because he sounded so soulful. And so I grew up listening to all kinds of music, but soul, R&B, and even bands like Depeche Mode, Yazoo, and I was into that era as well. Mid-Jur, Ultravox, and but then got really hooked on melodic rock and AOR, Giant and Europe and those bands, and Survivor and Foreigner, of course.
Yeah, it's so I just a quick question. What are your thoughts? Obviously Lou Graham's not been in Foreigner for a long time. But I really dig Kelly Hansen's voice and what he's done with that, and how he sounds in that band. And there's a lot of we're going through this thing right now. I think all of us are, where we're all getting older, and some of those guys can't play like they used to or sing like they used to. And and Foreigner's one of those bands that I've loved forever, right? But they're to the point now where there's if they can get one member, original member to the stage, it's pretty lucky. But I think Kelly has stepped into that spot and done a great job in that band. And really kept it going. So
he's done a really great job, and I love Kelly Hansen's vocal style as well. And the first time I heard Kelly was actually when he did the Unruly Child album. A song called Forever, which is a really great song. And he's got a great voice, he's got a great personality, he's a great artist, and I think he's done a tremendous job with Foreigner. And it's hard to replace a legend like Lou Gramm. It's I mean, it's basically impossible, but I think Kelly is as close you can get.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that doesn't try to do any, he doesn't try to do Lou Gramm. He does Kelly Hansen, and that's okay. And there's so many times you get that situation where somebody goes and fills in and they try to be somebody else. Like that's done. Just be you and do you. And I think that's a pretty good gift that he's gotten, and it's it works. They fill seats. They're putting butts in the seats, and that's what matters. So
and I think the similarities between guys like Lou Gramm, Kelly Hansen, Jimmy James, and so forth. And what I also strive is to get a lot of soul in the vocals. Lou Gramm and Jimmy Jameson had a lot of soul in the way they sing. So, So I think that if you have that and you can interpret a song very soulfully and also in a very humble way, I think you will succeed. Obviously when a guy like Kelly Hansen goes out on stage and sings like "I Want to Know What Love Is," everyone thinks about the original song with Lou Gramm, but people still want to hear those songs, and people still want to feel what they felt during the 80s when Foreigner put out those songs, and so there's still a market for that.
I've been to hundreds of shows over the years, and I still love going back to seeing those bands that it just, there's something magical about that time. And I had a conversation one time with Gene Simmons. It was an interesting situation, and I had taken a record for him to sign, and he said to me, he's like, "Why do you have that?" And I'm like, because I want you to sign it. And he goes, "Yeah, but do you listen to it?" And I go, "Yeah, I listen to it." And he goes, "Why do you listen to it? It sounds like shit." And I'm like, "No, it doesn't." And he goes, "No." He goes, "No." He goes, "You listen to it because it takes you back to a place and a memory." Then to your point, those bands do that same thing, right? That's the only reason why to your point about vinyl, I collect vinyl again. I've got almost 500. So it's like, but they're all stuff. There's some new stuff. Obviously some new stuff. And actually I'm going to try to get a Perfect Plan record before too long. but the stuff I bought is all old stuff, but it just, there's something about it coming out of a stereo speaker that you can, it's just not the same. It just absolutely isn't the same.
No,
so
it's for real, people wants to go back and back in time to those great times and get those feelings again. And the bands still want to continue to do music but people get older. You can't sing like you used to do before when you're in the 70s or 65, 70 years old. And but I mean, there's still some great singers out there doing some great stuff, even in the 60s or 70s. Hopefully I can continue at least 20 years more.
You just got to take care of it, right?
Yeah, you need to take care of yourself. And I mean, look at Mick Jagger. He's almost 80 years old. Maybe he is 80 years old.
Yeah, he's pretty close. Yeah,
but he still sounds great.
Yeah, and I think I read yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, that they're putting a record out, their first new record of new music in like in 18 years.
Yeah, and I read that too.
They're going to go tour, and they'll probably tour it, because why not? But the most of the people going there couldn't care less about a new record. But it really isn't about that anymore, right? It's for those guys. It's for them that want to still make that is part of who they are. It's not just
exactly
the old stuff. It's that ability to create new things.
Yeah,
but
I think that. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I think that's the main thing why I do this is, I mean, I'm very lucky to be able to create something, to create music and create something with my vocals, with, writing lyrics and writing vocal melodies. I create something and have the possibility to make myself proud of what I've done. So that's the main thing for me, and to be able to do that with friends of mine in the band as well, to share that experience. And I mean, that's everything to me. And the bonus is getting fans and listeners to, when they like it, and send all their love to us and so forth. But I mean, the main thing for me is to be able to do that and create and create new stuff. That's the main thing.
Yeah, interesting question for you. Since you kind of got into this a little bit later in life, has the fandom piece of it, where people coming up to you, has that been a little hard, not hard, but strange to kind of get used to, that people see you in a light that you used to see people in, or that you still see people in, that you're part of that group? Yeah. I
mean, the first time we played live with Perfect Plan was in Milan on the Frontiers Festival in 2018. And you stand on stage and you don't know what to think about it, and then you see people in the crowd singing the stuff you have written, and they know all the lyrics and sing along. And after the show, there's 40-50 meters of people that wants you to sign things and get a picture with you. And I still remember it as it was yesterday, because it felt so strange. And you never think about yourself in that way. And obviously I've been a fan myself, and been on concerts and wanted to get signed things from my idols and things like that. But being on the other side of it, it still feels strange. Yeah. But it's a good feeling.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting for me, at least. The more we've done the podcast, we just recorded episode 328 last night, so this will go out. This show will go out in a couple of weeks. So we've been doing it for a while. It's not been a day or so. We usually do a weekly episode, so it's been a while. But all the artists and stuff that we've been able to meet through the process, you know, the thing I've learned is they're just guys or girls. You know, they're just people. We put them, you know, we kind of all put them on some little different playing field. Now, trust me, there are a few of them that are on a different playing field. I get it. But they're just people, and they just want to have a conversation, and they just want to talk. And you know, some of the you know, great experiences that we've had, it's just sitting down with somebody and just having a chat about whatever, and opening the book and seeing where it goes. And it's just so cool and exciting to be able to do that. And you know, from my side. So
and I'm quite happy that, you know, I'm in my 50s when this happened to me, because, you know, I'm hopefully more mature and you know, don't get, you know, over excited about it. But I am very excited about it. But, you know, if I was in my 20s, I don't think I had been able to cope with it in the same manner. But, you know, I just feel that, you know, I can't really identify myself, and I think I'm not the only one among artists that can identify yourself like, you know, like the god that some fans think you are, because you're just a human being. And it turned out that, you know, I can sing quite well, but some different people can, you know, they're good carpenters, or they're good doctors, or they're good nurses, or, you know, whatever. That doesn't mean that I'm, you know, better than anyone else, or bigger than anyone else. I just want to be treated as a, you know, human being. And you know, we got some. The thing is that, you know, for me, is that getting people together and through music. I think that's, you know, one of the other things that, you know, gets me very motivated, because, you know, meeting fans and talk about music, you know, talking with you about our album, and you know, getting people together through music, and all the love and support you get through that, and the same and the discussions, and you know, the talks you get with people around it, it makes it all worth it. Definitely.
So just go back to the record for just a couple of minutes. We're going to be winding up here pretty soon. Is there a specific song on the record that is what you would think is your favorite? Or I know we ask that sometimes. People are like, no, we love all of them. That's why there's 10, you know, 12 records, 12 songs on the record. It's like, is there one song on there that just really is, that was the one you wanted to make sure got on the record? And
I got, you know, two songs that are really, really special to me. And the first one is My Angel, because it's the only ballad on the album, but it's about my relationship with my daughter, and it's about her. And she went through a rough patch and a rough time a couple of years ago, and one evening, you know, she had been struggling for about, you know, 5 or 6 months, and you know, wasn't happy at all, and so on. And one evening, she just came down the stairs and with a big smile on her face. And so I wrote that song in about 15 minutes, because my angel smiled again. So that song means very much to me, and so it has a special place in my heart. And the second song is Stop the Bleed. I think lyrically it's among the top 3 songs that I've ever written lyrically, because it's all about what is happening around in the world in terms of, you know, the haters on social media, the war in Ukraine, basically about all the hurt and the things that we do to each other as human beings, the evil in the society, if you could call it that. But I just read through some comments on a different artist's Facebook page, and that particular artist got some really nasty comments, and so I just thought that this has to stop. It's like a major bleed in society, when it comes to social media and the way people treat each other on social medias and things like that. So it basically started out with that. So I just got the headline of the song, "Stop the Bleed," because people are bleeding, people are hurting, and you can't say anything, everything you want to people on social medias or anywhere. So basically the song is about that, and also all the different evil stuff that we do to each other and hurt each other. So I'm very proud of that song, because lyrically it's among the best that I've written.
Great.
Yeah.
And that sounds like that's got some true meaning and definitely comes from the heart for both those, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. But obviously there are, our main goal when we write songs is that it should be like putting on the jukebox when you listen to our record. You don't want the same thing all over again. Mm-hmm. The same riff but in a different tune. We got some bluesy stuff, we got some hard rock stuff, we got some slow stuff, we got some AUR really melodic stuff and things like that. So it's a great variety of songs and different types of feelings in those songs. So "Gotta Slow Me Down" is a very
that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I really love that song.
Yeah, I like that song a lot.
Yeah. So if you compare "Gotta Slow Me Down" with the first single "Surrender," totally two different songs. So it's great fun to listen to that record, because it's so dynamic and with a great variety of different types of songs.
Yeah, you get a little bit of different stuff here and there, which is nice. Yeah. It's not just the same kind of repeated cookie cutter kind of thing, for sure.
Exactly.
Any chance on bringing Perfect Plan to America?
Oh man, I would love that. But it's touring the States is
tough.
Very difficult. Yeah, it's tough, and it's obviously the financial side of it, because everything is possible in terms of renting a nightliner and go on tour, but it's the financial side of it. I know that we get that question 100 times a day. When are you coming to the States? And we would love that. We would love to come to the States, and but I think that it all needs to get you need to get maybe 4 or 5 bands on the same tour, and get a lot of people coming to those gigs to be able to make it financially, and obviously also maybe a bigger band than us to front or headline a tour like that, like Whitesnake or something like that, to be able to get the people that you need to make it financially work.
Yeah. So, and you got to play decent sized venues, because otherwise you can't make any money.
Exactly.
I went to see Accept a couple of weeks ago, and they hadn't been to the States for quite a while. They're really good about touring the US. I mean, tour in Europe, stadium tour. I mean, the summer tours and festivals and stuff, but they don't make it to the US very much. And so they were coming and they were about 4 hours from me. And I'm like, no, I'm going. And so I went, it was a fantastic show, and really, made me appreciate the fact that they got to come here, and really made me think about that a lot differently. So it definitely kind of brings that a little more full circle for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you talk to Mick Jones in Foreigner or Neil Schon of Journey, we would love to open up for those bands. If there would ever be a possibility to do that, I mean, that's a dream come true.
Yeah.
So if you talk to them.
If I run across Neil or Mick, I'll put in a good word for you.
Yeah. Great, man. Great. Yeah.
I would gladly do that. Hey, I think our time here, Kent, is about finished up. Do you want to plug where people can find you and find Perfect Plan?
Yeah, we got a Facebook page. If you just search on Perfect Plan, or you Google us, Perfect Plan Band, you'll get a Facebook page or Instagram. You'll also get a webpage, perfectplan.se. And you can always find us on the Frontiers label page on both Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. The YouTube channel is quite huge. So and you can find all our videos there. And search for Perfect Plan on Spotify and buy the records on the nearest record store. Yeah.
Yep. That's how we support artists, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, you won't be disappointed, I think.
I don't think so. All right. Hang out for just a second, Ken. I'm going to take us out of here. All right. For those of you listening, you can find us on all of the normal, usual outlets, Spotify and iHeartRadio, every place else. You can find us on YouTube as well. So hope to see you all there. And thanks for listening today.
Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.